editing is one of those aspects of film that I find hard to quantify. It's very hard for me to pin down what aspects of editing that I enjoy, and it's one of those things that reminds me how much I have to go when it comes to film criticism. In fact, I'd go so far to say editing is the art form I am the worst at when it comes to film. Here's the current criteria I base it on though. The pacing has a lot to do with it, like how fast or slow a film is. Does it rush? Does it drag? Does it feel like it's operating naturally? Another aspect is the tightness of the story. How valuable is each scene? What is the order on display? Not every scene has to be plot relevant in order to be valuable, but the editor has to know the innate quality of the moment and how it fits with the rest of the film. They have to have their finger on the pulse of the momentum, and at the end of the day, it's them and the directors that decide what shots get in and for how long they're in for. If anyone on this channel is an editor though, I'd love it if you gave me some more tips on what good editing looks like, what you look for, how you approach the medium, and that's for non-editors too, I guess. What do you think of as good editing? Let me know in the comments below, but for now, let's get to the nominees. Marco Costa, Challengers. Now this is some spunky editing. It had some great cinematography, sure, but the pure pacing, knowing when to go fast, and knowing when to hit the brakes, that makes this film feel like a story in control. I'm all about heightened emotions, and I find neutrality to be like death in art. So I like when a film is either really fast or really slow. This plays with the rhythm and keeps you engaged with the material. David Jansko, The Brutalist. Any film that can feel adequately paced at 3.5 hours of runtime is deserving of a nomination. Not only did the time rush by me, the film still felt monumental and of a scale that can only be captured in that amount of time. We're talking about 20 years of a man's life. It has to slow down and do it justice. Each scene was absolutely necessary, and it didn't have to rely on quick cuts to satisfy the audience. It was audacious and forced you to watch it in the way that it wanted to be watched. Taylor Levy, A Different Man. I think what I love about this film and the inherent comedy within it is a repetition of a certain situation. I don't want to spoil it unless you haven't seen the film, but those of you who have will know that there's something that happens over and over, and it just gets worse and worse. I have to admit, I love editing that keeps shots in for longer because we can really sit with the characters and live what they're feeling. This film does a lot of that, and it's all the better for it. Clement Pinto, All We Imagine is Light. The structure of this film is really well done, and while a lot of it is writing, the editing has a lot to do with it as well. The change in tone, shot selection, and pacing that comes from a change in scenery gives this film the magic it has, and it comes from the way this film was edited. I love the way the insert shots were inserted. It made the setting feel like a part of the movie. Joe Walker, Dune Part 2. If you want to know why the editing of this movie is so good, just look at the worm riding scene. Just look at it. Look at it, look at it, and come back to me. Tell me that's not good editing. Tell me with a straight face that's not good editing. And I'll eat a cotton ball. I'll eat a cotton ball because you cannot do that. You cannot look at me with a straight face and tell me that's not good editing. So yeah. There's just no way. There's no way. Ryusuke Hamaguchi and Azusa Yamazaki. Evil Does Not Exist. I watched this movie with my family, which was an immediate mistake because the first 10 minutes were just looking up at trees. There's a moment where a guy is smoking for like 3 minutes, up to the point where my dad asked me if I paused the movie. Pump that shit into my veins, okay? Any movie that can show me 10 minutes of trees absolutely knows how to edit a film. They just get it, man. Jint Zibalotis, Flow. Another example of a film that commits itself to long shots, building the atmosphere and the tension and showing the giantness of the world. It stays on the animal's emotions a second longer than you think it would, and doing that gives you the ability to ground yourself in what everybody is thinking. I think the key to authorship is standing behind what shots you take, taking fewer of them, and standing behind that direction. Those kind of decisions are made in the editing room where the director and the editor can formulate the film they have in front of them. It's a meditative process, at least for me it is. It's no wonder many of the greatest directors consider it their favorite activity. Watching these films has taught me what great editing looks like and how to properly handle a film. The one that displayed that the most is... Ryusuke Hamaguchi and Azusa Yamazaki. Evil does not exist. Look, I'm telling you, they just get it, okay? Some people get it, some people don't. I know it's kind of funny to talk about in that way, but in reality, film is about capturing life. And in the heart of life are these small, minute, quiet moments. I think editing like that is like visual poetry. It allows you to almost disassociate a little from a scene, and as you do that, your mind wanders, but the editing in the film guides your conversation that's going on in your head. It leads you to great discovery that way. Editing like that is in conjunction with the way film in general is supposed to hit you. It's supposed to help you know yourself and the world a little better. Special shout out to Challengers, which also displayed a one of a kind ability on the editing room floor. It was breathtaking and it deserves its silver turtle. But that's going to do it for me. Let me know if you've played around with editing in the past or if you have played tennis before. I'm the Australian Open is going on right now while I'm editing this, and I've been out of the game for a little while because I was really a Federer Nadal kind of guy, and so since Federer and Nadal are retired, I hate Djokovic. I hate him so much. That stupid anti-vaxxer fuck. And he's still in, but he got injured recently. And not that I root for injuries of players, but him a little bit. I do a little bit. And so, but I've been thinking about getting back into it. I heard Alcaraz is really good. Sinner is really good. If you haven't watched tennis, you should try watching tennis. I know nobody in Challengers really gives a fuck about tennis at all, but I like tennis, and I thought that was cool. And when the tennis ball bounces and it did like the cool under the court thing, I was like, oh my god, that's more of a cinematography thing. But the speed of it is editing too. So yeah, just watch some tennis sometime. If you want to get into tennis, watch the 2007 match in Wimbledon between Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. That will get you into tennis more than anything else would. It's truly an art form. But that's going to do it for me. That's enough about tennis. Maybe I'll go watch some tennis. I don't know. Bye.